Am I the ass for refusing to go to my daughter's graduation ceremony? I, 40s female, have a daughter, 18 female, who I'll call B. When she was younger, her father, we broke up before she was born, was very involved in her life, and she was admittedly a dad's girl. But this all changed when she turned 8, and he got married. He barely called and just abandoned her for his new family. This was obviously hard on her, and she rebelled a lot. But she went to therapy and seemed good. B has not seen him since she was 12, and he speaks to her maybe 3 times a year, maximum. When he calls, she believes he is now back in her life for good. Then he ghosts her for the remainder of the year. This being said, B and I have a great relationship. We do everything together. She even refers to me as her best friend, so I'd say we have a good relationship. Recently was her graduation, and I was excited. But then she came to me a week before and told me she is going to invite her dad and his son. And because her dad doesn't want to see me, I can't come. B told me that was the only way he was gonna go. I angrily told her I felt betrayed and won't forgive her for this. She just told me I have been there for many of her milestones, and she wants her father to experience some too. Things got heated, and we argued. The night before her graduation, I pleaded with her, but she ignored me when I spoke, and only said, "I'm sorry, but I'm not changing my mind." I left and cried until my sister offered to take me out during the graduation, to take my mind off it, and I agreed. I woke up the next morning to my daughter bawling her eyes out. I looked at the time and realized the ceremony starts in 5 minutes. I asked B why she hasn't left yet. B then tells me her father ditched her and isn't answering anymore. I hug her and tell her to make the most of her graduation. She looks shocked and asks if I'm not going to the ceremony. Now her father isn't anymore, and how it'll be embarrassing to be the only one there without parents. I told her I'm sorry that I already had plans. She then screamed and called me a bad mom. I apologized once again and got ready to meet my sister. I chose not to go because I felt betrayed and wanted to teach her actions have consequences, even if it broke me that I didn't go. Since B returned, she hasn't spoken a word to me, and she looks depressed and like she's been crying for ages. I'm starting to regret not going. My sister says I did the right thing, but one of the moms at my daughter's school said she was depressed at graduation, and now I feel bad that I ruined what was supposed to be a day to remember because I wanted to teach my daughter a lesson. So am I the ass? Not the ass. You gave her an important lesson about maintaining relationships with the people who are there for you and not blowing them off for the next new thing that comes along. I fully agree. Daughter treated her horrendously. Daughter might now go no contact, but she would be an asshole to do so, given how she's treated her mother. And OP, stop apologizing. You didn't do anything wrong. The more you apologize, the more your daughter believes that she was right in her actions. At best, you can say, "Look, I understand you're hurt, and I'm sorry you're upset, but this is a consequence of your actions." What really stuck out to me is that the daughter refers to her mom as her best friend. You are not your child's friend. You are a parent. OP should act accordingly, not the ass. No, I think father had no interest in going. So father said, I will only go if OP won't be there, assuming there is no chance that OP would honor daughter's wishes and not attend. Then, surprise, OP did as her daughter asked and stepped aside. And father was left having to attend a graduation. Graduations are incredibly boring. Even if you adore the person who is graduating, it is a pretty miserable experience. No way the father wanted to attend. Father was just looking to say, B, I would love to be there, if only your mother wouldn't be there. Too bad. Update. Am I the ass for refusing to go to my daughter's graduation ceremony? I don't think I'm a bad mom for this one thing, and I accept the judgments and read everything. To answer your question, B does go therapy. This isn't the first time B has ditched me for her dad. She's been doing it for 10 years. This is the first time I have said no to her after her father abandoned her. I have asked her therapist if B is being manipulated, and she said no based on B and her father's messages, and my daughter is just grasping onto a reality that isn't there. Update. I went to my daughter and apologized for not going to her graduation. I also explained that it is not a nice feeling to be left out, and I feel underappreciated. Also, that is fine to want her father there for her, but I should too. B told me that she's sorry things ended this way, and that she loves me, hugged me, and wants things to go back to normal, and that she acted like a witch. I told her, nevertheless, I should have been there, and if I could do this all over again, I would have gone. Honestly, I said this as I thought she now knew her dad can't be trusted, and I felt for her. Then I asked her if she regret uninviting me in the first place, and unsurprisingly, she said no. This hurt me, but I figured it was because I didn't go, so it was understandable. But no, she continued, saying that it was probably best I didn't go, because she would have been more miserable, as she would have preferred her dad to be there anyway. Then I got peed, I didn't show it. I told her my feeling were hurt, especially since I've been there for her. And she said that she's always going to want her dad there for her big moments. I asked, even at the expense of me, and knowing he most likely won't show. And she replied, I mean if I have to make sacrifices, I'm going to have my dad there. I repeated the question, as she seemed to be swerving it, but she just shrugged and went on her phone. I told her not to expect everyone to apologize, and turn a blind eye when she doesn't value them in the real world. And I also said, knowing how she feels, don't expect another apology from me, and this is the last time I'm doing this. She looked teary-eyed, but I left. I don't know how other parents do this. I know her father is going to keep abandoning her, and honestly, I'm at my limit. And if I didn't know whether I was wrong or not before, I definitely know I was right in not going. I know I'm going to get a lot of backlash saying this, but I'm bitter and angry. I understand wanting her dad there, but I should be on the same level of importance as him. I'm still going to be there for her when he inevitably ditches her again. But if this behavior carries on to her next graduation or wedding day, I can't say I'll be that apologetic to her. I should have just listened to, not the ass. Potentially consider getting therapy yourself, even temporary. I'd have a hard time getting past this, even from my own daughter. I'm sorry this situation is part of your life right now. Gosh, I know it's hard, but if she honestly feels that way, then you're right in how you responded. What happens when she gets married? Probably the same thing. Honestly, you sound emotionally immature to me. Your daughter is still a teenager and just barely got out of high school. She has been through a lot of stuff with her father, and though you're at your limit, you really can't be if you want to be a good mother to your daughter. I respect that your feelings are valid, but you've got to stop thinking that your daughter is making her dad more important than you. She is just desperate for his love and approval. She's still thinking there's a chance her father will see her as worthy of his love and time. She's just got to make sure he knows that her door is always open, and that she'll do anything he asks. It's obviously not going to work, but she still thinks it will. I really don't think you should keep trying to talk this out with her. She can't be convinced to stop being a sucker when it comes to her dad. She's just going to have to work this out on her own time. Anyway, this whole situation is just incredibly sad to me, and I feel very sorry for your daughter. I think instead of contributing to the emotional pain her father causes, you should do your utmost to lessen it. She's not being immature. She's been an emotional punching bag for her daughter. She has been the one who is picking up the pieces. She is valid in her feelings and feel at her limit. Instead of appreciating the mom, who does everything for her, she basically told her mom she wasn't worthy of her. Mom is the one through all of high school with her. What will she not invite her to next? College graduation. Her wedding. She was beyond understanding of why her daughter keeps pursuing her father's attention, but asking OP to allow herself to be hurt, time and time again, for the sake of her daughter's immaturity, is in itself ignorant and immature. Her daughter is 18, she knows that her actions and words hurt others. OP has simply outlined her boundaries now, and communicated it with her daughter. Second update. Am I the ass for refusing to go my daughter graduation ceremony? I'm sure no one asked for this update, but here goes. I'm going to refer to B's father as F. For the past few months, I've done a lot of reflection. Although, I can't say I regret not going to B's graduation ceremony, I do wish I handled the situation more like an adult. Growing up, I was taught never to ask questions I don't want the answer to, and that is exactly what I did with my daughter. I shouldn't have asked if she regretted uninviting me, because truthfully, I didn't want to hear the answer. And for that, I think I acted childish. To clear up some misconception, I don't speak to B's father simply because he refuses to be cooperative. Also, when I said B referred to me as her best friend, this doesn't mean I treat her like my equal. I do parent her. She did get grounded and got her phone taken away when she misbehaved at school, etc., which is rarely. I think she calls me that because she feels comfortable to talk to me about everything. Now to the update. There was an incident after where B wanted her dad to help her move into her college apartment before term started, but he refused because he had work. She begged for weeks. The whole 3-hour ride to her college was her crying hysterically. My sister consoled her, but if I'm being honest, I was angry. Angry at my daughter as she refuses to go therapy anymore, but seriously peed at my ex. It took me ages after graduation, but I finally got in contact with F's aunt. I explained the situation and that I need to get into contact with him, as he's either ignoring or not getting my messages. He ended up sending me a very long letter. In a small nutshell, it said that my daughter has been stalking and threatening him and his family, and he's been trying to have a healthy relationship with her, but she keeps being aggressive, so he had to distance himself. He acknowledges he hasn't been the best father, but he tried for the past few years, and B is too aggressive, so he had to put the safety of his family first. As for the graduation, he wrote that he definitely refused to go, and only said it was probably for the best, as I probably wouldn't feel too comfortable with him there. He said not to contact him again, and that we've done enough damage. He added photocopies of messages between him and B, where she says deeply troubling things, like physical threats. Personally, I thought everything he said was BS and misconstrued. I spoke to B and told her of her father's accusations. She broke down in tears hysterically and admitted that she hasn't been the nicest to F's wife and child, understandably, but she never threatened and stalked them. I was trying to calm her down. I told her I believe her and suggested therapy. Then she turned on me, blaming me for the breakdown between her and her father's relationship. She swore at me and broke stuff. She told me to stop trying to villainize her father when I'm the problem. She called me a burden and cancer and said I should have stayed out of her business. I was called a bad mother and told I should burn in hell. To be clear, she was never violent towards me. She packed her stuff and left, presumably back to college. Me or my family haven't heard from her since. I called and called, but only got one message from a random number telling me to leave her alone. I told her I'm always here when she's ready to talk. It's been 2+ months since I spoke to her. I'll never admit this to anyone, but honestly I feel relieved. My self-esteem plummeted, and I felt dead for the longest time because of this situation. I'm going therapy and feel the tiniest bit better. I finally went on a date yesterday, for the first time in a decade, without getting guilted. In hindsight, mine and B's relationship were nowhere near perfect. I don't know what more I could have done, but I wished I did more. She's my child, and she was a victim of an overall crap situation. Sorry for the long update. I am unsettled by her behavior. She doesn't seem normal. I'm sorry. Also, concentrate on yourself now. Give yourself some love and let yourself live a little. I remember you posting originally. It struck a chord with me because I was in a similar situation with my university graduation as your daughter, but I chose differently than your daughter. It sucks you had to go through all of that. You're right. It was an awful situation. I am so happy that you are relieved and are taking care of yourself. Take care of you and do the things that make you happy. Take care of you, mama. She's hurt by her father and is taking it out on you. Respect her wishes. If she wants you out of her life, then you do just that. They also included not paying for her schooling or housing. Live your best life. Change the locks on all of your doors and change the garage door opener as well, if you have one. Let her truly fend for herself. Sometimes we have to let family, including our children, fall on their bottoms more than once for them to learn. To be honest, F sounds like a douchebag anyways. Don't give up, but don't make her a priority anymore. You deserve better too. I just hope she gets it together before it's too late. Well, that's the last of the updates for now, but I'm sure this isn't the last we have heard from OP. Sounds like she has been on a roller coaster journey with her daughter and is sitting right at the midpoint. Hopefully, her daughter is doing okay on her own and realizes how she has hurt her mom, and they rebuild their relationship. Also, I would like to point out that she is also a victim from her dad. Sounds like she so desperately wants to be loved by him, and he probably didn't even see what he was doing until it was too late. This sort of thing has really affected OP's daughter mentally, and hopefully, she decides to start therapy again, as it sounds like she needs it more than ever. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing. I upload videos every weekday.